So the founder of Rolling Stone, this guy's the founder of Rolling Stone?
Jann Wenner, yeah.
He was the founder?
Yeah. That was the guy that Hunter S. Thompson would be.
I saw the documentary about the Rolling Stone, but I guess I forgot that it...
I think of him as like the guy with the Woodstock 99, that old hippie that was like, blaming the people after their scumbag robbery, like the business hippies,
So this guy went on with Joe Rogan and he advocates for government censoring discourse. I'm not kidding. And Joe Rogan dismantles him, again, effortlessly, just like he did Sanjay Gupta. What? Here's a pothead comedian who announces men fighting in cages.
He's very patient and like gentle with them doing it.
Yes.
I almost like can't believe the stupidity. Yeah. I can't get the words out of my head.
So let's watch it. I'll play it all the way through. It's about a minute and 20 seconds. I'll play it all the way through and then we'll come back.
Meant to regulate the internet?
Absolutely.
You trust the people that got us into the Iraq war under false pretenses to regulate the internet? Do you think that makes any sense?
Well, wait a minute. I would not. The people who got us into the Iraq war.
It's the government.
Was the politicians.
It's the government.
In the end, yes, it's the government. But who else is going to regulate?
But if they're going to be in power and they're regulating the internet, they're going to regulate the internet in a way that suits their best interests. The same way they do with the banking industry, the same way they do with the environment, the same way they do with energy, the same way they do with everything. What represents their interests? There's so much. You're talking about so much money involved in disseminating information in a very particular way.
Right now, are the internet companies are rich beyond belief.
Yeah, it's fat, but it's a disruptive thing that has never existed before. I think it exists, and I think where we're at is where we're at. I think we need to move forward collectively as a country with an ethic that respects truth and that appreciates opinions and reality and an understanding of things that's not necessarily possible with corporate interest involved in dissemination of information.
But there's no way to do that except through the government. There's no way that you can do that except through the government.
Why is that?
Human nature is not going to change.
But the government's not going to change either.
But the government is capable of change. Okay, look, the government regulates, for example, the food supply.
Bad example.
Or can regulate. Let's take the
food supply.
Bad example.
The Department of Agriculture.
Why have they let glyphosate infestate all of our foods?
Let's take this one thing.
Yeah, but that's a problem. That's the government
agree.
regulating.
Well, then we better get better politicians and appoint better people. I mean, it's not. Again, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Right.
Okay. So let's take the SEC or take the Food and Drug Administration, which regulates big pharma. On the one hand, we've got a very safe supply of drugs in this country.
Bad example.
Safe.
Drugs are tested.
Bad example.
You don't get too many bad drugs.
Bad example.
Prescribed drugs.
25% of all drugs approved by the FDA get recalled.
And scene. How did Rogan land an interview with Nancy Pelosi? I mean, how is this the guy? Honestly, Kurt, there's no way this guy did as many drugs as Hunter S. Thompson. Yet he sounds like the bass player who got kicked out of Guns N' Roses.
He sounds like Dr. Drew should be helping him get his life back together on a reality show. Yeah.
By the way, I owe Rob Reiner an apology for his shitty Bill Maher appearance. He was a statesman compared to this fucking idiot.
At least Rob Reiner at this says like, what? What's that? I don't know what that is. What? Like,
yes. I like how this guy thought he was going to do better than CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta. So if you're wondering, here's what becomes of a 60s era business hippies.
Yeah.
They go full neoliberal maniac and then try to justify it on a podcast with a half thought out Rob Reinerisms. I can't wait for the Ben and Jerry flavor for this guy. It's going to be called the Jann Wenner Know Nothing Surprise.
I was genuinely surprised how Know Nothing. When he said food, I was like, surely you travel in the circles of people who were probably all complaining about GMOs next to you. And you know what I mean? Like
so that's exactly what all the guys in who was the rocker who came out against Joe Rogan? His big thing was he was anti-GMO.
Yeah, right. Like,
and now they're saying Joe Rogan's anti-science because he's questioning the vaccine. Well, you guys were anti-science because you were questioning the GMO. But one question's okay and one question isn't.
And then the pharma thing, like, okay, I know that the arguing about vaccines took up all the space, but you surely are a liberal who saw the OxyContin documentary. Like every liberal who would tell you you're wrong to talk about whatever, they all know about the Sackler family and
right.
OxyContin. And
somehow, how about them putting asbestos in baby powder?
Yeah, no,
they don't know about that.
Well, I didn't. They're doing that in baby powder.
You didn't know that?
I knew about the cancer thing. Is that why it was asbestos?
Yes, they put asbestos in baby powder, which is why they. Yes,
well, some of us don't like flammable babies, Jimmy. I guess your baby would.
So let's watch this again.
Meant to regulate the internet?
Absolutely.
You trust the people that got us into the Iraq war under false pretense?
He says absolutely.
Yeah,
he goes, you want the government to regulate? He goes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like pals of his.
Like, what could possibly go wrong?
No, I know him. I've known him for years.
Because he's on a first name base. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all one big celebrity important. I'm still the same, whatever the hell I thought I was. And of course they're qualified. It's not the government. It's he doesn't want to say my friends. Watch when he gets to the, yeah.
Just to regulate the internet?
Do
you think that makes any sense?
Well, wait a minute. I would not. The people who got us into the Iraq war.
It's the government.
Was the politicians.
It's the government.
In the end, yes, it's the government. But who else is going to regulate?
But if they're going to be in power and they're regulating the internet, they're going to regulate the internet in a way that suits their best interests. The same way they do with the banking industry, the same way they do with the environment, the same way they do with energy, the same way they do with everything. What represents their interests? There's so much. You're talking about so much money involved in disseminating information in a very particular way.
The richest companies in the world right now are the internet companies. Are rich beyond belief.
Yeah, it's fat, but it's a disruptive thing that has never existed before. I think it exists, and I think where we're at is where we're at. I think we need to move forward collectively as a country with an ethic that respects truth and that it appreciates opinions and reality and an understanding of things that's not necessarily possible with corporate interest involved in dissemination of information.
But there's no way to do that except through the government. There's no way that you can do that except through the government.
Why is that?
Human nature is not going to change.
But the government's not going to change either.
But the government is capable of change.
Okay, so human nature is not going to change, but government is capable of change. How? Through animatronics?
Yeah, well, so do people not work in the government? What does he know?
Yeah. So the government's all being staffed by animatrons? Is that what's going on? Who's building these robots? Okay, here we go.
Okay, look, the government regulates, for example, the food supply, or it can regulate. Let's take the
food supply.
Yeah,
Joe Rogan. Wrong topic to bring up to Joe Rogan. There's nobody who knows more about what's going in his body than Joe Rogan. Government approves foods known to lead to obesity. Government approves foods that lead to diabetes, heart disease, every other disease which government approves of. These food are made in industries where workers develop debilitating tendinitis, and also how about the government approves large-scale animal agriculture where diseases such as swine and bird flu, to name but two, are created. Government approves of the meat industry that is destroying the planet with emissions and pollution. Government approves of the most widespread, accepted, and unspeakable cruelty on earth that towards animals in laboratories and factory farms. But not to worry, the government believes in freedom of speech. That's why they want to regulate it.
So you're saying the government's wrong when they, as a child, they said you should drink like a full gallon of milk throughout the day?
Every day? Listen, now Joe makes the point that he should make.
Department of Agriculture.
Why have they let glyphosate infestate all of our foods?
Let's stay with one thing.
Yeah, but
and they are. So during COVID, when I would cook pasta, I would I would get my pasta from Italy. It's got shipped to an Italian food distributor here, and you go, Jimmy, that's a big carbon footprint. I'm not eating glyphosate.
Is that what I thought when you said carb? They're like you're eating a lot of carbs and not the carb. Somebody is going to give you the what for? Because your carbon footprint from pasta you ordered?
Yeah, well, because it's a big. Yeah, you got to. Wow, Jimmy, why you got to ship it from Italy? Yeah, but they don't spray their their food with glyphosate.
You get all the pods that you want. Like, that's the footprint that matters.
I know.
Oh my God.
So glyphosate, unbelievably harmful to all forms of life, threatening 93% of endangered species. Even the WHO has classified it as a probable carcinogen. Bayer, which owns Monsanto, has paid hundreds of millions in damages to people suffering from cancer linked to the glyphosate-based weed killer Roundup. It's estimated Bayer will probably pay out approximately $8 billion to settle similar suits. Nonetheless, Monsanto hides behind the official line saying glyphosate has been subject to rigorous scientific scrutiny by the federal government and regulators worldwide for decades. It is widely regarded as one of the safest herbicides ever developed. Government regulation. Go ahead.
No, just like,
so this is him. So you're for that. So the government allows that.
Did glyphosate do that to him?
Maybe he's got glyphosate on his brain. Do you know, government regulation too often means government cover and interference on behalf of the corporations. A study from the Environmental Working Group found that 90% of conventional hummus contained glyphosate residues. And I've yet to hear a word about that from Adam Sandler. Here we go.
It's a problem. That's the
I
government
agree.
regulating.
Well, then we better get better politicians in them to appoint better people. I mean, it's not. I guess again, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Right.
Okay. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, Kurt. This applies to bad jokes and fashion choices, not to Orwellian censorship.
Yeah, I was just going to say, why would... Okay, so that's why you don't do the regulation, because it's already good without you doing that.
Yes! We have free speech. And one of the things that people can't handle is that some people are going to say something that they disagree with or they think is false. And they don't think they should be allowed to do that because it will affect other people who are soft-brained. And then we're going to have a problem in this country. Well, that's your problem because you need to come up with a better argument to that person. You don't get to... The answer to bad speech is more speech. It's good speech. It's not censorship.
Oh, they decided that doesn't work.
So the question I asked... Go ahead.
Did you ever see the argument like, no, that doesn't work, more speech, because you got to not platform. And then we designed the idea of everything's a platform and how dare you platform. And then... that was supposed to benefit idiots like him to know not to go on Joe Rogan's show.
Yes.
Where his everything will be like like destroyed with his own mouth. Awful.
These people have no idea what they're talking about. This idea that free speech is a danger because of the internet. We've always had free speech. People have always had printing presses. People have always been able to say and do whatever. Free speech is good. It's not bad. You don't need to get rid of it. Can you think of one problem that censorship has ever fixed? Just one. Give me one. What's one problem that censorship has ever fixed?
Well, Andrew Tate probably can't use PayPal. I'm not sure, but
and now misogyny is cured.
Yeah.
Right? It fixed it.
Yeah, misogyny is cured.
It fixed it, right? There's no more misogyny. We got rid of Andrew Tate.
No, people instead of hating women like them even more now.
Is that what they say about him, by the way? I don't even know who that guy is, Andrew Tate.
It's just some dumb thing for kids and all, like, I don't know. It's some
Is that the guy who has the talk show with like 4 women and they're all...
No, I don't know who that is.
Who is that guy? Oh, okay, different.
It's just like a demographic of... It's just nonsense. It's all nonsense.
I don't know who these people are. I don't know who Andrew Tate is.
The thing is funny is all these like edgy kind of things are kind of like old-fashioned... You know, like not a lot of sex before marriage and that kind of...
That's now edgy, like scary. Like Ben Shapiro is scary.
Yeah, like it's really...
Ben Shapiro said we should stand up when a woman comes in the room. This guy's a radical. Where did you get radicalized?
Yeah, it just is craziness. Like stuff that I got raised in church in is now like some kind of weird punk rock thing to somebody. I don't get it.
So, thank God for Joe Rogan. I'll say it again. I say it every day silently to myself. Thank God for Joe Rogan. When I saw him in Vegas, I told him, "Thank God for you, Joe Rogan." And I'm not blowing smoke up his ass. I mean it. Thank God the guy with the biggest podcast, the biggest talk show in the world, gets it right when it comes to free speech, gets it right when it comes to questioning authority figures, and gets it. Thank God.
Well, I would like to say thank God for Jann Wenner personally, because that's pretty great.
And thank God Joe Rogan has the ability to be able to dismantle guys like that and dismantle guys like Sanjay Gupta.
Yeah, because I don't. Because
I would have overreacted.
I mean, you saw poor Ben Glebe here.
Aha! Well, maybe if you see when you played the bad cop, I get to play the good cop when Ben was here. So thank you for allowing me to do that, because normally I'm the bad cop. You know that.
No, while I was getting mad, I was like, oh wait, it's weird. Jimmy's being the voice of reason right now.
We're going to see you in Richmond and Virginia Beach tomorrow. Virginia Beach, Richmond. Single tickets are now available, and I promise you I will never have to say this again after I work these two clubs. And then we're in Arlington on Thursday. I don't know if that's sold out. I think I was told it was sold out, and then I don't know. We're doing stand-up comedy in Virginia Beach, Richmond, Virginia, Arlington, Virginia, San Jose, California, Miami, Florida, West Palm Beach, Denver, Palm Springs, Austin, Texas. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets. And while you're there, join our premium program. You get to see my new stand-up special coming out.